I was wondering how long we was going to be before we got started. Here we go. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Basketball Wives. This is season 9, episode 2. Like I said, I was wondering how long we was going to go before we got started. Well, we're already in full swing. Episode 2. Anyway, listen. So all the girls are like scattered all over the country. It's we did the first episode. It's like a 4 to 6 month switch now going forward. COVID is in full effect. People are, is right before we got completely, I think we're right at the point where we got quarantined, and when things shut down and all of that stuff, we're kind of moving out of it somewhat, somewhat at this point. Um, and you see some of everything. We see some of everything. Some folks that were really paying attention, some folks that weren't really paying attention. But I think we've actually, at this point, been quarantined and we're moving out of it to where we can move around a little bit, but everybody's still very, we still in that spot where we're just kind of like, ooh. Um, we found out that Cece and Byron have actually gotten married, and that all has happened. I guess they're not a part of the show anymore, so they really didn't go too far into it. They just said that they were married, and that was a real little shady conversation between Malaysia and Kristen. And Kristen was like, she was beautiful. Yeah, she was beautiful. Like that's all she had to offer to the whole situation. She looked beautiful and moved on. But anyway, Kristen and Malaysia were meeting up, and boy, little Kenzie then got so big. I said, boy, how this time, it's crazy. You see Shawnee's kids, you see Malaysia's kids, you see little Kenzie, Kristen's, how fast these kids like grow while you're watching this stuff. Because she was just a baby, and she's like a little, like a kid now. She's not even like a toddler anymore. She's like a kid. She go running through there. I was like, God, time flies. Anyway, Malaysia is still dealing with the traumas from her brother's death, naturally. Um, she tried to go to a protest, but she just couldn't do it. She was supposed to meet up with Kristen and go to a protest. She couldn't do it. She just could not handle it at all. Um, and in this episode, we actually saw Kristen got Malaysia together with a girlfriend of hers named Monteria. Monteria is actually, I guess, would you call her the survivor? Well, she's presently, she's an activist, and she is a surviving mother of a child that perished under police brutality and and all of that. So, yeah, she's a survivor. She's a survivor because she's making it day to day. Yeah, I just don't know. I'm not going to spend too much time on it or get too deep into it of what to actually um, label those parents as. I label them as they're warriors, is what they are. Because to actually know that any of this stuff has happened to your child and then you are able to push forward and try to fix the problem and all, they're warriors, is what they are. But I don't, I just want to be, this is why I don't talk about this stuff, because you don't want to say the wrong thing and offend somebody. But that is like survival mode to me. If something were to happen to some child in my family like that, I would be devastated. And to get up every day and keep on going and actually still deal in that and not shut off, and you're actually trying to fix it for other parents, you are a survivor, you are a warrior. So I'm just gonna put it out there like that, and hopefully I didn't offend anybody. But you know how people are. You know, you say the wrong thing and everybody goes left. That's how I see it. She's a survivor, and she's a warrior princess. It is what it is. But she was there, and you can see she's still very touched by it because just even dealing with it, talking about it, she was very strong. You could tell she's a strong woman, and she's trying to help Malaysia along. But she even got, she still gets choked up about what happened, and I'm sure she probably always will. It's still her child. Her child was young as well as a teenager. I think he was 17. I think her boy was 17. The same as like with Malaysia's brother was 17 too, with the stuff that happened to him. So it was just a mess. It's a heavy scene. Um, but anyway, so she met up with her. She gave her some suggestions about what she could actually do to push forward. Malaysia actually decided she was going to speak to her children about what the situation is. Now, I was like, I don't know about that because she's having such a hard time with it. I didn't know if it was time for her to actually bring that to her kids, and would she be able to actually do that without falling apart and breaking down like she does. But she did. She went right into mommy mode. We seen her actually have the conversation with her children, and I think she did a great job actually speaking to them. At a point, hell, it got rough for me, and I was like, "Damn, Malaysia, like how you?" But she did it. She pushed right on through there. She really did hold it together, getting that message out to her kids. And I think the part that got the heaviest for me is when she had to tell them. She was, she was rolling through it. And when she got to the point of telling them what to do, if the cops pull us over, what will you do? And they say what they would do or what they would say. And she's like, yeah, okay, no, you ain't going to say none of that. So I'm like, okay, I was like, all right. And then when she got to the point where she had to actually really address the oldest one, more so than the younger ones, and say, if the cops came in here into our house and were to throw me to the ground, what would you do? And of course they were like, first they're saying, ask them for about a warrant and all that. She's like, ask nobody nothing. You let me handle it. And then if they attack me, what do you do? And then her kids were like sitting there and she's like, you don't help me. And I know it's instinctual for you to try to help me. You don't help me. You just stand there. And her son, he gets it. But again, this is in a conversation, not in a real life situation. But that's like the instinct, especially with boys and their moms. So that was, I think, the roughest part of that whole scene. It really, for me, when she was explaining that, and then it was like, you know me, I'm very visual. And you know how my imagination is. So as soon as she said it, I got the visual picture of it like, oh my God, like that would be like really crazy. Like, and you said, can you do it? You as a person, can you do it? Somebody grab your mother and throw your mother to the ground. Your instinct is to react. But this is not the climate to do that. So that's when it just got really, really real for me. And I was like, wow, that's a whole lot to have to be conveying to your teenage child. But she did good. I think she did a great job. She didn't fall apart at all. She didn't break out to crying and carrying on. She really did hold it together for her kids and got that message out. So I was like, I was proud of Malaysia. She did a good job. And I think she's gonna be okay because at least she's now. She's not just running because, like she said, she didn't even want to go to Kristen's house to really have the conversation. But she's making steps now. She's not just running away from the problem. So I think Malaysia is going to be okay. Anyway, so we found out that Evelyn's stepdad actually passed. We heard that he was sick in the last episode. He didn't make it. He literally died with the COVID complications in the hospital, and that was back at the time when nobody could even go to the hospital. So that was just like, it was ugly. But That happened. Then she did get the new house, so she's feeling more secure. She has more security and all of that, so she's feeling a little better about those things. Um, OG seems to be okay in her living space as well. So I think some of that angst that they had about the security situation between both of them, both of the women are, a little better, in that mind space. So that's a good thing. So Evelyn decides, she says she wants to rent out a mansion and basically invite the girls to all go because they were all missing each other. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So that was that, and everybody was pretty much on board for it. Um, then is where the bullshit got started. I said, oh, here we go. Here we go. And boom, on my screen, here she comes. Old eyelash girl. You don't know who I'm talking about, honey. The one whose husband threw the drink in her face and her eyelashes stuck to her forehead, honey. Old stupid Jennifer. I said, oh, God, she's back. She had moved to Atlanta. She had COVID. She had COVID, and it was all due to her being irresponsible during the lockdown. She done went to Miami with 4 girls on a girl trip and messed around, and one of them had COVID, and her ass ended up with COVID. So many people, not just her, so many people, y'all can keep on playing. Y'all can keep on playing. Keep playing. And Kristen's sitting there talking to her, and Kristen's sitting across from her like, I done did everything I'm supposed to do to not get COVID. This half of her out living her best life, and that ended up with COVID. They showed flashing pictures of her all in a swimsuit and all that. I said, oh, yeah, girl, you was looking real cute in that swimsuit. But then you got home and go drive past the McDonald's and can't smell the fries because you done lost all sense of smell because you ate up with the fucking COVID. Simple. It's crazy to me. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me that the rest of the world is locked up in a house and you feel like something about you allows you not to be locked up in the house. Who are you? Storm? Thor? Who are you that you think that you shouldn't be locked up when everybody else is locked up? Girl, I was getting ready to start talking about y'all's other president and everything. I'm not even, see, that's why I don't like to mess with this stuff. I ain't even going to put a damn mask on and quit playing. And when they say lock up, lock up. Anyway, moving on. So here she is. Jackie's messy ass done got the invite. And this is the thing that you're seeing. They're like, oh, God, Jackie coming? Oh, Jackie's coming. So everybody, they cool with the fact that Jackie's coming. But, it's a red flag that old Jackie and her messy ass is going to be there in the mansion with everybody. Okay? But they like, okay, cool, no problem. We're going to work that out. Jackie's ass done rented another house and invited Jennifer and OG. Jennifer gets to telling Kristen this while they sitting there talking. And she's like, really? She's like, okay. Now, she's like, oh, that's deep. So as they're talking, the whole feeling last week of the thing, it was like, they wanted to fix, everybody was on board to kind of fix everything, have the conversations that needed to be had, to kind of fix things that they had going on, or just to come to some common ground. Jennifer is already with the rah-rah. Like, you could hear her. She's all like calling them bitches and hoes. Kristen told her, she's like, no, this is what we're not doing that. Like, you may not be getting along with the girls and all of that, but what we not doing, like, they're my friends and we're not going to call them bitches and hoes and all that. Honey, Jennifer told her, this is my house and I will call those bitches and those hoes whatever I want to call them in my house. I was like, Oh, so you tough again now. So we're back to old tough Jen. See, you get whatever you get. When you get over there, whatever they give you, Jennifer, you're going to get it because you're the only one with all this vitriol and acting like you were the problem. You was the one walking around telling lies and causing confusion, and you still all about it. Somebody gonna jack your ass up, Jennifer. You better cut it out. Anyway, we flip over, go to OG's house. Now OG has dinner. She got her two brothers and her mom is there, and Kwame, and they sitting there talking. Um, and again, I get irritated every time I hear her talk about this life building with Kwame, and he just don't seem on board. Now she's talking about, oh, we were locked up, so we've had plenty of time to be working on a baby. You don't even have the ring. Like you still are trying to be like, oh, that relationship drives me crazy. I don't know. It really bothers me that it's like she's so into him and he just does not seem to reciprocate that. That really bothers me. And I'm not even a fan of hers. I don't really care for her. And y'all know that. But it just bothers me. You're talking about having a baby with this man. Now, that's going to link you up for however, if this thing falls apart, then you're going to have a baby. And whatever. I guess she knows what she's doing. Anyhow, I don't like it. Something about it. I'm not sold on it. I just don't trust him. I don't trust him with her. He just does not seem that into her. And it's like he's just skating along like, whatever. Anyway, moving on. So she tells them all about, what's going on and this, that, thing, and the other. And her mother spoke complete sense. Her mom was saying, you know what? She's like, okay, so all of this is going on, this, that, thing, and the other. And the family pretty much, but the mother was doing the speaking. And she was really had hopes of reconciliation. Because her mother ain't crazy. Her mother sees that it's all really a whole lot. Like it's all grown legs, like I said last week. It's grown legs and it's turned into something else. Now you got court cases and all that, and y'all sitting in the court of public opinion, and it done really got crazy to where y'all done had to up your security. It just has really gotten out of hand. And I think her mother, sees that. Her mother really had hopes for reconciliation. OG she seemed in a good place. We're like, okay, yeah, I'm willing to have conversation, to try to clear things up. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that's good. Because if you got Jen acting stupid, Jackie making false moves, because those are false moves. Jackie, ain't nobody asked you to do nothing. And that's that Jackie always got something going on. Anyway, after that, Kristen, of course, ends up calling Evelyn and told Evelyn what happened. Evelyn already then got pissed. So I'm like, you can see it all in Evelyn's family. Like, there's going to be some mess with Evelyn and Jackie because she done got pissed. And I think I probably would have got pissed too, because you trying to hijack what I'm doing, trying to create a situation where ain't nobody asked you nothing, or you ain't even talked to nobody about it. She didn't even see if everybody was still in the same space, because it's been like 4 to 6 months since everybody was in the space to want to talk. Now we're on something totally different. People done been quarantined in their houses. You don't know where people are mentally. You ain't seen them. So you trying to bring some bullshit to a situation. That ain't your call, Jackie. But that's the shit you do all the time, ain't it, Jackie? Always a mess. That's why they were actually skirting around inviting you, but you didn't know that while you out here getting shit started. But anyway, so then the last thing, we get this conversation with OG and Kwame. And I said, oh, now I'm trying to ride with you, girl. but she made a statement. And this is where I know this is getting ready to go left. This is getting ready to go left, and we didn't fight too much in the comments last week. And I got a lot of my girls was saying, James, my fist ain't balled up. My fist ain't balled up. We just watching. We just here watching the show and watching the reviews. Okay, well, let's see if y'all, if your fists stay unballed, okay? Because Miss OG, girl, I was like, okay, cool. You made a comment, sis, that told me where you are with this bullshit, and it is crazy. Now, okay, we done got to the point where she said she feels like the group is colorist. Okay? It's not just Evelyn. She feel like the group has colorism issues. Okay? So y'all got this whole thing going on. Okay? But the comment that OG made is incorrect, you all. That whole, when she said, and her words were, if you are a darker hue, because she was telling Kwame, she's like, I say that the things that happened were done from a colorist standpoint. They say that it was not. And that is the argument. Okay. And that can go on forever. That is up to the court of public opinion. And when y'all get to court about these lawsuits y'all got, it'll be up to the judge. But dig what she said. She said, if you are a darker hue and complexion and treated differently by anyone in the group, then that's colorism. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. That is not a fact, OG. Now, it could be an issue, but that's not a fact. You're talking about a group of what, 7 or 8 women. And you mean to tell me that if anybody disagrees with you at any time, or you don't get along with one of the women, then now the group is colorist? That's bullshit. That's bullshit. And this is where my argument came in last time. Because how long did we actually go last season where people were accusing me of being colorist? And I didn't even catch it. Like, I didn't even catch any of that. I was still at the space where I was like, well, these people just don't get along. They don't get along. Just like with me. I didn't care for OG. She not my kind of people. I just didn't vibe with what it is that she shows on the show. It had nothing to do with color. Hell, we the same color. But I was accused of being colorist. I was cussed out. I was called all kind of names, all kind of slurs, and everything else. That way of thinking is bullshit. That way of thinking is bullshit. You're sitting in a crowd. Jennifer is not light-skinned. Kristen is not light-skinned. And we had this last time. And people were saying, oh, but their features. Again, a whole group of 7 or 8 women, and just because one person or maybe several people in the group don't like you, and you happen to be dark-skinned, do not mean that the whole group is colorist. I ain't going for that shit. That is a horrible way of thinking, and that would be just like me saying that when I get on here, if there's a group of 20 people and one person in the group don't care for me specifically, then the whole group is homophobic. Now, see, y'all will see how that worked. Like, that's just ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Maybe the person just don't like my ass. That is a horrible, horrible way of thinking. And I don't think that she misspoke. I think OG said it exactly how she meant it. And that is where the argument always started. Because now, were there some things that were questionable? Yes, there were some things that were questionable. The thing with the monkey and all that stuff, Evelyn was out of order. She was out of order. That little monkey thing, Evelyn ain't never going to be able to explain that away. She won't. And y'all know I wasn't even touching that. That was a mess. That was a mess. Evelyn, whatever, girl. All you could do is apologize and try to and move fast forward from that. But you're never going to be able to explain that away. But I ain't going for this whole thing of the whole rest of the group is colorist. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. And that statement that OG made is exactly what. I think you playing. I think you played in people's face. I think you took that narrative and you ran with it. It grew legs, and this is why you got a court case with her and why things got as ugly as it did. I ain't going for that. I ain't going for that, just like I wouldn't expect anybody to go for if I sit in a group of people and one person in the group don't like me and then I say everybody in the group is homophobic. That is a ridiculous way of thinking. And that's what I got to say about it. I know we're going to chat. I know we're going to chat. So I'll be in the comments with y'all. That's all I got to say. I said, oh, God, I thought we would make it before. A little longer before me and OG got started again. But, that's OG. No, girl. Not at all. Sorry, hon. Anyway, y'all, see y'all in the comments.